Hey guys, welcome back to Games of War. Today's episode is more of a catch-up episode. Everything has been so scattered lately on the Games of War channel. I think I've put out 2 videos in like almost 3 months, and that's just unacceptable. So I'm back here today to let you guys know that my personal life is going great. I got a great new job, excellent hours and pay. So everything on that side is going perfect, and now it's time to get back into the channel because I love doing this. It's very fulfilling to me personally. It's not about any money or anything like that. It's just about putting out content that I'm passionate about and sharing with you guys. Now, the past couple of weeks have been really busy. Myself and my son Zach just got back from too many games about a couple of weeks ago. I had a great time buying games. Got to see Johnny, Happy Console Gamer, good buddy Splatter Trigger. Jordan was there from After End Media, meeting Flipper. Alpha Omega Sin, tons of people there, tons of YouTubers there, and it was really cool meeting up with everybody and talking and shopping for games. Returned to Mother Base, shout out to Alex, he was there, that was awesome. And not only too many games, E3 has come and gone as well. E3 was amazing this year. We got The Last Guardian coming for sure. We've got a badass looking game from Guerrilla Games, Horizon, that looks amazing. Just seeing all the new stuff that's coming out has me really excited, because I'm not going to lie, this generation has been very difficult for me to get into personally. Nothing has really grabbed my attention, nothing has really hooked me in, so I'm really looking forward to some of the new releases. Not to mention Shenmue 3, oh my god, I can't believe it. Yu Suzuki finally getting to make the 3rd game in the series. And speaking of Yu Suzuki, I just finished a game last week that was done by Yu Suzuki, one of his earliest works, I think his first RPG ever on the Genisys, and it's a game that has stuck with me all these years, and I still play it and finish it every couple of years or so. It's such an amazing game. It is none other than Sword of Vermilion. And I just want to say that Games of War channel is going to start doing individual game reviews. I'm purchasing a new capture card this weekend, and I really want to do in-depth single game reviews. Now, all the other kinds of videos like the forgotten game sequels and classic beat 'em ups, Sega shoot 'em ups, all these kind of series reviews where I take a bunch of games and talk about them. It's not going away, but I do want to get into some detailed single game reviews, so look for that soon. Now, Sword of Vermilion is an RPG that blends so many different play styles into one. As the game starts off, your father is on his deathbed and he summons you and says, I'm not your real father. 18 years ago, an evil King Zarkon invaded the village. He murdered everybody in the village and was about to murder your father. Your father came to me and asked me to sneak you out of the village and raise you as my own and make sure you survive. So your father's best friend took you out of the village, got you away from danger, took you to his own village and raised you as his own. Now he's on his deathbed as well from old age, and he comes clean and tells you what really happened to your real father, and it's up to you to take revenge and thwart this evil Zarkon. So the game begins, you're in town, and it's kind of like a classic RPG town, walking around, talking to townspeople, gathering clues, finding out your next objective. And as you leave the town, it goes into a first-person kind of exploration, dungeon crawler type look where you're navigating across the lands, and then you go to other towns. It's back to the RPG perspective. Now when you go into battles, it's very interesting. The enemies don't appear on the map, they're random. You see an enemy appear and you go into kind of a top-down, almost hack and slash type battle system where you can use swords and magic, and in towns you can buy equipment and equip that equipment, stronger swords and armor, and then the battles are kind of strange. The way you swing your sword is kind of like a weird up and down motion, but you get used to it. The magic is great. The battles are very challenging. They keep you on top of your toes. And you get to the next town, and it's very important to talk to everyone. They're going to give you clues. They're going to give you a map of the area so you're not walking around in total darkness. Maybe a map to the cave you're going to explore. So it's very important to take your time, listen to everyone, and get the essential items you need. Now this game also comes with a brilliant hint book, and it's more of like a strategy guide that walks you through the whole game. Everything is illustrated. There's detailed maps and town drawings and items and character stats. It's essential to play this game and get the most enjoyment out of it. So it's, aside from the RPG elements in the towns, very straightforward RPG, the first-person dungeon crawling, the cave dungeon crawling, the hack and slash battle system, when you go to boss battles, it goes to like a side view, almost side scroller, where it's up close to the characters. The bosses are huge, multi-jointed creatures, and your hero looks badass. This is yet another gameplay style, kind of like a side-scrolling, side-view hack-and-slash boss battle. Madness, chaos, excellent. Everything looks great in this game. All these play styles come together to form one cohesive unit of a game. It's an amazing game, great music, great graphics. I remember this was one of the first games that said like 6 meg power and battery backup, and it was an expensive game. It was like $80 back in the day, almost $90. I begged my mom to get it for me, and I wasn't let down. Yu Suzuki, showing brilliance even in the early days. If you're looking for a great RPG that blends together some unique styles, definitely check out Sword of Vermilion. And don't give up on it right away. You know, don't get into one battle and say, oh, this is stupid, I don't like the way the sword works. You know, give it some time. The game will grow on you. The story is excellent. Creatures are excellent. Try to get one with the hint book. It's essential to get most of enjoyment out of the game, but Sword of Vermilion is excellent. Now, in addition to Sword of Vermilion, I've been really focusing on finishing up my Genisys collection. Now, at the time of this recording, I'm sitting at around 140 all boxed and complete Genisys games. It's my main passion. I really enjoy the Genisys very much to this day. If you would have told myself 20 years ago as a kid playing this system that, hey, you know, 20 years later, there's going to be advanced consoles out, you're still going to be playing this same console and getting that same enjoyment out of it, I would have thought my future self was crazy. But here it is, you know, 20 plus years later, and I'm still enjoying this console just as much as when it was new and current. So I'm really going at the Genisys collection hard, trying to get it all finished off. And one of the companies that I've really come to appreciate is Renovation. Now, Renovation is primarily known for a lot of their shoot-'em-ups and action games on the Genisys, and I learned later on that it's kind of like Wolf Team is Renovation. It was kind of like the Tales of team that is now. Those were the employees back then. They were Renovation and Wolf Team. They are such an awesome company, and I've almost got all their games. They're getting pretty expensive now, but let's go ahead and take a look at the Renovation line of games that I have for the Genisys, because they make some of the best games on the system. So in the past, I've done a shoot-'em-up video on the Genisys, and I've gushed about games like Arrow Flash and Whip Rush and Gary's. These are excellent shoot-'em-up games on the system. I picked up some newer games from Renovation, and it's Gain Ground, which is an excellent like 2-player, almost kind of strategy game. Action, really working together, taking out enemies. This is an excellent entry on the Genisys, and it's a lot of fun as a multiplayer game. This one I've been after for quite some time. I wanted this one as a kid and never did get around to picking it up. Elemental Master is an awesome shoot-'em-up that kind of is a breath of fresh air due to the fact that it takes you away from the outer space element, and you're actually like a wizard, and you're on the ground and you're shooting with precision, accuracy, you know, super fast, power-ups, all of it's there from the shoot-'em-ups. Take away the sci-fi element and place it as a wizard, like a top-down view, and you're able to walk around on the ground and shoot forward and behind you. Great challenge, graphics and music. I'm having a lot of fun with Elemental Master. This is a great game. Arcus Odyssey is one I actually picked up at Too Many Games, and this is kind of like a gauntlet-style game, 2-player, a lot of fun, great graphics, and these games have like animated intros, cutscenes and stuff. Everything is great on the Genisys, looks amazing, great music. And then here's a few more from Renovation. We've got X Granada X, which I have owned for a while now. Vapor Trail I've talked about before. Final Zone, all excellent games. The only stinker that I've played from Renovation so far comes in the form of Beast Wrestler, and it's not something that I've put a ton of time into. There seems to be quite a bit you can do aside from just being like a one-on-one beast fighting game. You can play 2-player. There also seems to be some type of gene splicing, and you can create new monsters. I haven't got too much into it, but from what I've played so far, this has been the only dud from Renovation so far. But like I said, I need to put some more time into it. There's a few more games I need to get from Renovation to complete my collection. I need to get the Valis games, Valis and Valis 3, Side of Valis. I need to get El Viento and Master of Monsters for a complete collection, and then I will be sitting good with the Renovation games. If you're a Genisys owner, definitely take a look into this company, as I feel they put out some of the best games on the system for sure. Aside from Renovation, there's another company on the Genisys that isn't quite exactly known for their stellar quality games, but they are known for creating some of the most violent games on the system before there was a rating system, and that is Razorsoft. Now, they're not held in very high regard among gamers. Those that do appreciate their games will know who I'm talking about. Technocop was one that I wanted as a kid. I convinced my mom to get it for me, and I was actually pretty let down. It looked like really cool, violent, kind of like cop game where you drive around in a car. You get to these buildings where these suspects are hiding out, and you shoot people. Now they do explode into a bloody mess of blood and guts, which was shocking for the time. But actual gameplay, it's just not that enjoyable. It's an okay game. Uh, Death Duel here is a much better game. Once again, pretty violent. It's a first-person game. You kind of scroll from side to side, fighting these huge monsters that kind of try to hide behind objects and take cover. And your job is to strategically pick the proper guns to disarm these big monsters, blow them apart, blow their arm off, blow their left arm off, blow their legs off, eventually blow their head off. Very strategically dismember these big robots, big creatures, dragons. It's all pretty cool stuff. But the one game that I really loved as a kid, and I was looking at pictures in the magazines, and I couldn't wait for it to come out. I was really excited for it, and that I just finally found a complete copy of this game, because it's not easy to find out there. And that is Stormlord on the Genisys. And this is such an interesting game. It's kind of got a ghouls and ghosts kind of vibe to it. You play as like an old man Stormlord with the power of freeing fairies, and this was a pretty controversial game. This foregoes the violence, but there was naked fairies in the original release. They were clothed in this version, but you can still see these fairies. They look somewhat naked, but I just drove on this atmosphere. It was so dark, and there was old trees and mountains in the background, and thunder crashing in the dark sky. And I've been after this game complete for quite some time. I didn't finish this game as a kid. The gameplay can be quite challenging. You have to free fairies in a certain order, and there are instances where if you don't do that in the right order, you will get stuck in that level and you actually have to restart it. So it's as much as a puzzle solver as like a platformer or an action game. Pretty brutally difficult, but I'm really happy that I found a complete copy of Stormlord, because this is one that came in like the original cardboard box. And they're not easy to find in good condition like this, so I'm really happy to have Stormlord. And there was actually a lawsuit about this game because they used a different size cartridge than an official Sega cartridge, and they got sued because of it. They wanted to, cut on the manufacturing costs or something. I don't know exactly what happened, but it's a different size cartridge, and it didn't end well for Razorsoft. So as much as I stayed up on top of Genisys releases, when the system was out, when I was a kid, I was constantly buying Electronic Gaming Monthly, GamePro, GameFan. I thought I was pretty good at staying, pretty much up to date with games that had come out, and I knew what games I wanted, and I was pretty aware of the library. So I was really surprised when I went to the flea market a few weeks back, and I saw these three games here, Blades of Vengeance, Saint Sword, and Jewel Master. I had never heard of these games. I'd never seen them, never heard anybody talking about them, so I picked them up on a blind buy, and I was pleasantly surprised when I got home. Blades of Vengeance has excellent graphics. It kind of reminds me of Kadash, where it's a two-player game, and you both work together on a single screen, and it's hack and slash, and it's all medieval. You can pick a warrior, a magician. Excellent hit detection, great graphics, great music. This game is a ton of fun to play with two players. What a great game, very cheap. Saint Sword, which has probably got some of the best box art I've ever seen, bar none, is an excellent game, a side-scroller action game. You play as a warrior, and as you go along and fight enemies, once again, great hit detection, which is really important when you're playing these kind of side-scrollers. If you swing the sword, you want to feel like the sword, when it hits an enemy, it's not delayed. It's not like, oh, you have to be in a funny spot to hit the enemy. It's swing the sword and boom, the enemy's dead. This game you can power up to 3 different levels. You collect an orb, you get a little bit more buff, a little bit more powerful. By the 3rd power-up, you can actually do an extended combo, and your guy gets pretty big. Now, in addition to that, you can also grab these orbs and transform into 3 different forms. You've got like a Valkyrie form where you sprout wings and you can fly and explore other areas of the level. You can transform into a half-man, half-horse. You can jump huge gaps, run fast, stab people like jousting. And then you can transform into a merman where you have like a tail, and you can swim in underwater caverns and explore secrets. I mean, this game is pretty forward-thinking for back then. There's awesome transformations that really play well to the levels. They lend themselves very well to being able to explore previously unexplorable areas by changing into these different forms. A ton of fun, a really high-quality game from Taito. And then Jewel Master kind of reminds me a little bit of the early Castlevania-style games. The hook in this game is that, being called Jewel Master, push the pause button, it brings up your left hand and your right hand, and you get these different rings throughout the game, and then you can try out different combinations. Like you put the blue ring on the left hand, and you could shoot like lightning bolts or force fields out of your hand, and you put the red ring on here, and they combine to form different combinations and power-ups. So you could combine the left with the right and make a force field, shoot fireballs, you can shoot lightning, all different kinds of cool combinations depending on which rings you have equipped on which hand. It really creates for some varied gameplay. I mean, you usually don't see a lot of stuff like this back in these early games, but Jewel Master's there, and it's got it. Good graphics, good music, and just a lot of fun strategy and mixing up the rings for different power-ups to suit the levels. Certain enemies are weak to a certain kind of power, so a lot of great experimentation in Jewel Master. I was really surprised. What a great 2D side-scrolling action game. Now, in addition to the Genisys collecting and finishing off certain goals of the collection, I also finally got the Mega Man, I should say Zach ordered the Mega Man statue quite some time ago. It finally came in. It's the first 4 figures exclusive. It's an amazing looking statue. It's huge, tons of detail. It's pretty heavy. It looks great in the collection. Really happy to have that. I also managed to find in GameStop of all places a really cool Ganondorf and Link statue. They look really great on the Nintendo shelf. Statues have always been kind of a passion of mine as well. I love video game themed statues. They make a game room really come to life, and it's a great way to celebrate characters you love in games. Well, that's about it for this episode, guys. I just wanted to come on and say I'm back. Look for a set schedule for Games of War. I really want to get this channel on a regular basis so you guys know what to look forward to and when. If you can't get enough and just aren't happy with just videos, I'm also on a podcast with Corn Muffin X, Joe. We do the CXG podcast. I've got links on my channel page to check it out. And I also do a podcast, kind of live cast with my buddy Pete Dorr as well. And those videos can be found on his channel, Pete's Game Room. So those are both a lot of fun. So check them out if you want to see more. Thank you guys for watching. Look forward to the new content on a timely manner. Hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for watching. As always, Games of War is nothing without you.